44% of educators report high levels of daily burnout. That figure remains consistent across nearly every demographic, highlighting a persistent gap in how we support the people running our classrooms. The standard response to this exhaustion is largely rhetorical. District leadership often reminds educators of their inherent dedication, assuring them that they are resilient enough to bounce back from the stress. But relying on resilience has become a way for systems to push the cost of chronic stress back onto the individuals experiencing it. When teachers face under-resourcing and unmanageable workloads, districts frequently counter with superficial solutions, like casual Fridays, with free coffee, or subscriptions to meditation apps. Offering these surface-level perks in place of clinical support suggests that burnout is a personal failing rather than the result of an unsustainable environment. This reliance on rhetoric over intervention acts as a form of corporate signaling, and it is costing school districts millions of dollars every year. This chart visualizes the immediate financial penalty of teacher turnover. The cost to replace a single educator ranges from $9,000 in rural districts to over $25,000 in urban areas. But the final letter of resignation is only the end of the timeline. Most of the financial and operational drain comes from a hidden iceberg of costs, accruing for months while a teacher struggles in the classroom. This line graph tracks a teacher's sick days over a semester. As absences rise, an area graph highlights the expense of substitute coverage. Simultaneously, a third trend line reveals spiking student disciplinary incidents, directly correlating classroom behavioral issues with teacher burnout and rising sick days. These behavioral spikes eventually pull leadership away from their primary duties, forcing administrators to spend their hours managing a surge in parent complaints. Eventually, the decline in student outcomes can lead to the loss of grant funding tied to those specific academic metrics. A district pays for burnout long before a teacher leaves. They lose capital, valuable administrative time, and overall school culture throughout the entire process of attrition. District leaders typically point to the Employee Assistance Program, or EAP, as their primary safety net for staff. This pie chart compares the total program availability against actual use. National data shows that EAP utilization averages between 4 and 7%. Most of the allocated resources sit untouched, existing as a line item on a budget rather than a used benefit. Traditional EAPs often lack specialized understanding of K-12 environments, and teachers frequently encounter long waiting lists that prevent timely support. Budgeting for a wellness program that 95% of staff cannot or will not use indicates a need for a different operational strategy. To address these costs, staff mental health must be treated as a clinical-grade healthcare requirement rather than a workplace perk. This dashboard tracks the outcomes of schools that invested in clinical support. They saw a 23% drop in turnover, an 18% reduction in sick days, and a 15% improvement in classroom climate ratings. MentalSpace School integrates this level of support directly into the school environment, focusing specifically on the needs of K-12 districts in Georgia. The system provides same-day teletherapy access outside of school hours, using dedicated, culturally competent therapist teams, and maintaining absolute HIPAA and FERPA confidentiality. This comparison shows the effect of removing barriers to care. Against the 4 to 7% EAP baseline, MentalSpace School drives utilization rates between 35 and 45%. Logistically, MentalSpace School is in-network with all major Georgia carriers, operates at zero cost for Medicaid, and helps districts meet the July 2026 HB 268 compliance deadline. For superintendents, the question is what a current wellness program actually delivers relative to its cost. Resilience functions best as a structural infrastructure, a system built to protect educators so they can focus on their students. Build that infrastructure at MentalSpaceSchool.com.